Hello and welcome to Eco Girl in a Modern World. This channel is dedicated to looking at the way that the humans impact the environment and to try to find solutions and other ways that we can be more environmentally friendly but still, live in a modern and convenient way. So I'm a modern girl in a world where we want clean water, we want healthy ground, and so I just try to find new and better solutions to have a fun and productive life, but still be mindful of the environment. Now, the last video we talked a lot about. It was kind of a post-Thanksgiving kind of video that talked about down feathers and the holiday shopping season and what to look for when you're buying clothing. So I decided to continue in that theme since the holidays are right around the corner, and however you celebrate, if you celebrate Christmas, if you celebrate Hanukkah, if you celebrate any other religious holiday, Kwanzaa, you will, it is a time where we really start to decorate. We decorate our homes, we decorate our lawns, and so I decided to go ahead and make this video about holiday decorations and ways that can be eco-friendly. Now, to begin, just to get it out of the way, I mean, if you celebrate Christmas or the biggest holiday that we kind of see is the Christmas tree. So there is, of course, a very big debate as to whether or not it is more eco-friendly to buy a real tree or to use a synthetic one. I'm going to post the link to a very good article that talks about the pros and cons, but honestly, it is good to go with the natural tree unless that would be depleting. You want to source it from tree farms that replant. And you definitely want to go with farms that don't use a whole lot of water or a whole lot of pesticides to produce the tree. Now, alternatively, the benefit of having an artificial tree is that it would be reusable. It's something that you could probably get decades worth of use out of. I mean, it doesn't, it's made, most of them are made out of plastic, polyurethane. So, it's going to be around a while. And at least the advantage is that, a synthetic tree you can reuse over and over and over again. But the only disadvantage is when you do go to throw it away, it would not be recyclable, and that would be the in life, that you're committing to. But not so bad, to get 30, 40, maybe 50 years of Christmases or holidays, out of celebration out of that. I do actually have a synthetic little tree. I have a little tree. I don't go with the big one, but and you'll see it in a minute. It kind of looks like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree, but it's very lovely, and it works very well. Now, the next thing that we can kind of talk about is, and the next thing we could kind of talk about is garlands. And garlands are wonderful because they don't have to go on a tree. They can be hung around the house. They can really be for any festive, not necessarily any specific holiday. And the beautiful thing about garlands is that they can be completely, made of organic materials. One really beautiful tradition, and my friend actually, her family, her kids wanted to do this. They wanted to string popcorn. So that's always, and that's something that you could put outside as well. If you get a ball of twine or if you get a ball of string, and actually a ball of any type of twine, it can be, hemp, it can be linen, it can be like that real just natural string, is multi-purpose because you can also use it to wrap presents. And in that next video, we're going to talk about Christmas wrapping or holiday wrapping, gift wrapping in eco-friendly ways, but you can use it to fold. If you get a good ball of yarn, it's very ball of twine, and it's very inexpensive. You can use that to create garlands, beautiful garlands. So popcorn's a wonderful one. That is one that you could put outside as well if you want to feed animals or something like that. The other thing is that popcorn is a fun activity for kids. Actually, all of these garlands that we're going to talk about make for wonderful busy time activities, something that you can do as a family with little ones where they really get creative and contribute to your decorations, which is makes wonderful wonderful, warm memories. Another really big one is cranberries. And actually, of course, all of these activities you can look up on YouTube. You can look up, you can Google it. You can do cranberries, and there's a way that you can do dried or baked oranges. And it's really amazing, guys. It makes for a beautiful fall kind of garland. You know, the other thing is that you can mix and match it. You can do popcorn and cranberries. You can do cranberries and oranges. The other thing is, the only caveat with that is that you would want to watch those videos and make sure if you have any little kids that can kind of try to eat, or pets that might try to chew on it. I'm almost positive that cranberries and oranges are fine, and popcorn fine, but if you go into things like if you want to decorate more with things like poinsettias, or what's the other one? There's a few, holly. If you use real holly, those might be a little bit more on the toxic, that you would want to rule that out for any toxicity. But one other thing is cranberries also can be just left out as they are, you know, without pulling off the berries and stringing them. You can leave them out as branches of cranberries, and that's very decorative. That actually looks like holly, but it's not, and it's a great replacement. Also in the vein of garlands is a beautiful thing about garlands is you can also use wooden beads. Like you can take the thread, loop it at one end, knot, and then put a wooden bead or a glass bead, a ceramic bead. All of that would work really, really well. Another really great garland idea is if you do enjoy your wine, if you have leftover wine corks, you can just drill through the center of the cork and you can string. You could put a bead, knot, and then cork. And then I've seen really beautiful garlands made that way, and that not only showcases you know an interest of yours, but it also creates something functional. Another really great garland idea is paper. Paper is a wonderful idea, and actually in a minute we're going to talk about paper again, but paper garlands are so easy to make. And you know, you could go really simple, and it is another really good family time kind of activity. You could go really simple and just have like chains, like loops, you know, of paper. But you can also Google that or YouTube it. There's so many beautiful ideas for different types of garlands, like really creative ones. You can do stars, you can make little Christmas trees. You can even just, you can even just cut out. You don't even have to spend a whole lot of money on that. Again, use the same twine. You could even you could let your little one create art. Cut out a tree, cut out a color, anything that they want, and then you can just take a wooden paper clip and clip it up. That would make a beautiful garland. I saw really creative ones that look like lights. I saw ones that, you can hang up, you can use the same paper clip idea to hang up photographs of previous Christmases or holiday seasons, You could, if you have your picture taken with Santa every year, you could do like a progression of an ad, that's a tradition there. But the garland is such a versatile one because again, you can do that. You can turn that into a craft thing. Also, one other thing I love to do is that I get catalogs from, companies this time of year, like Crate and Barrel or, Pottery Barn, and the advertisements are so beautiful. You could really cut those out or use that as like origami paper and create some really beautiful things without spending any money. And that's such a great craft thing to do and to share. Now, one other thing in the line of garland is just like in the 3 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle. In the reuse kind of category, you can also repurpose things. Like I have my garland, this is going to sound a little dorky, but a couple years ago, I think it was last year, I wanted to dress up for Halloween as Wonder Woman. And again, being an environmentalist, I really didn't I didn't want to drop, I first off didn't want to drop a lot of money on one of those light up lassos. I wanted a lasso of truth. And I wasn't finding one that I really liked. I saw a few that were like light up ones, but it was a ton of plastic. It required a battery, and most of the time they were really expensive, and I kept seeing reviews about how easily they'd break. So, you know, why are you going to drop money on something that's really only going to be used one time and that might break, and then, you know, that's the bad loop we want to avoid. So I did go to the craft store and I got some ribbon, and I just kind of made my own. I kind of braided this lasso, and it actually turned out looking really good. It served its purpose for my costume. And then it was amazing when I got into the Christmas season after Halloween. I was like, oh wow, I could use this again. And it has been my garland for the last 2 years. It lays really beautifully on my tree. It's the perfect length, and it doesn't detract too much, but it's a beautiful golden color. And you know, it's not, I think it probably, the ribbon itself is probably not organic, but you know, if you can reuse it, because think of how much, you know, the holiday season produces its share of waste, but Halloween, I think, is probably like 10 times worse. You know, you think of all the polyester that's flying around. So if you can reuse it, good for you. One other thing real quick before we get into ornaments, and this is actually a good segue. Speaking of reusing ornaments, reusing my garland, I actually had a friend, you know, actually, we'll get into that in a minute. I'll save that for last. I'll save the best for last. But so those are just a few ideas that you can use for garland, and it's so lovely. It's so natural, and it looks really, really beautiful. Now, the next thing that we can look at is our ornaments. We can look at our ornaments. Now, just like with anything else around our home, the biggest thing that you want to do anytime you want to stay kind of environmentally friendly is we want to avoid any cross of any materials. Like, you don't want plastic mixed with metal. That's why, you know, that's why pumps and spray bottles are not recyclable, right? And of course, this time of year, you see so many little plastic knickknacks or plastic, solid plastic ornaments. So just let's go ahead and talk about some of the alternatives. Just like there's wooden beads for garland, wood is a beautiful resource for ornaments. If you go on Etsy, there's actually quite a few ornaments I saw. Like, I saw some star ornaments that were made from olive wood. And olive wood's really gorgeous. Actually, olive wood it's what's used as the dashboard material for a lot of luxury cars. And it's also used to make beautiful bowls. Like in Italy, it's gorgeous, and it's an organic resource. There are actually artisans that carve these bowls from olive wood. It's really a beautiful resource. You also find a lot of mortar and pestles that are made from it, but you can definitely find ornaments that are made of wood. And olive wood's a gorgeous one. It's a really pretty ornament, has a lot of dimension. Another wood ornament that I see, and I actually see this at the department stores too, is that, you know, you can have wood cutout ornaments. Like, they make them in the shape of snowflakes. You can see them in the shape of Christmas trees. And then, but if you want to be a little bit more trendy than that, there are ornaments that can be painted or, you know, created from wood that are very what's the word I'm looking for? Intricate, very intricate. You can also, if you have a favorite sports team, you can get, you know, wood, you know, carved or painted with the name of your favorite sports team. You can have, anniversaries or baby's first Christmas. So wood is a really beautiful resource. Also, if you do not want to use, with garlands, you could use things like pine cones, but pine cones you have to be a little careful with. If you actually go out into the woods to get a pine cone, there might be some creepy crawlers. You might have some wildlife living in that pine cone. So you might want to research that a little bit if you want to get a pine cone from out in nature. But another really beautiful thing that I've seen in department stores as well is that pine cones can be made from wood. And that's another way, that, created, not, not what you found on your nature walk, and it looks beautiful. It looks absolutely beautiful. And so wood is a wonderful resource for that. Now, the next one that we could talk about is cross stitch. Cross stitch is a really great one to go because when you think about it, you don't have too much cross material with that. You do have the wooden ring, and it might have a little bit of metal on it. And you can actually get really beautiful rings that hang, small ones. And then the material, you get to choose. The material can be linen, it can be cotton, and then you can get cotton thread or linen thread. Now, if you're a good cross stitcher, you could do this yourself. But otherwise, like me, I'm not a good cross stitcher at all. I actually know of a card maker who really finds that very relaxing. Like it's like it helps her relax. And with the busy holiday season, that might be something. It might be a craft hobby, focusing on something that you could learn that would be, not only stress relief, but, creating a beautiful thing. But definitely cross stitching is gorgeous because, of course, you'll see the traditional snowflakes and Christmas trees, but cross stitching can really do anything. I've seen some really cute little patterns, cute little Christmas ideas that were not the norm. If you've visited places, you can have it, stitched with the name of your favorite place. You can have, again, the same thing, first anniversary, baby's first Christmas. It's really, very versatile. The other thing I've seen is that I've also seen the stitching that is, actually we'll get into that in a minute with the more knitted stuff, but that's a good way to go, and that looks lovely on the tree. It looks lovely on the tree, and really you could do anything. You could actually really make that more, if you have a favorite comic book character or a favorite, Marvel character, you could even cross stitch that, that it can be very trendy without being plastic. Now, the next one that's kind of bridges from cross stitch is crochet and knitting. I have seen some beautiful ornaments that have been crocheted. I actually last year I bought my mom. I bought a set for my mom and I bought a set for myself. My mom and my stepdad live near a lake and they love their ducks. My mom loves her ducks. And, we even call them Papa Duck and Mama Duck. And so I got a set of the two for her, and then I got a set for me. Now, I do think that the material is probably synthetic yarn, but I had them most of the time. I purchased this off Etsy, and at least it's not plastic. I mean, polyester yarns definitely, they still have an impact, but the nice thing is if you do order this, most of the time these ornaments are made to order, and most of the artisans, like if you go to Etsy, you have it made to order, you can ask about that. You can look at the materials and say, hey, do you have, can you make this in an all cotton yarn, or, a different, or with wool? It might be a little bit more expensive, but that's the beauty of you would not only be supporting an artisan, but you would also be saving the planet by taking that extra step. And they're gorgeous. They're really, really pretty ornaments. A step up from that is that it doesn't even have to be flat. My little duckies are flat, but you can also stuff them. Like you can do a crochet and then have filler. And again, you would want to ask. Again, you'd ask the seller whether or not it's polyfill or if it's cotton fill. But you see some really cute ones, like you see like 2 peas in a pod. So these ornaments do not have to be like, the tried and true pine cones and trees and snowflakes and that. If you could really do something more custom. If you have a favorite cartoon character or favorite anime character, you could probably look to have that made in crochet form. And so that is another really great way. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to go ahead and bridge over to leather. Now, the disadvantage of leather is that it is not vegan. So it is, it would be, the skin of an animal. So if you're opposed to that, then that might not be a good choice for you. But leather is so gorgeous. It really, is very also another really versatile fabric, another material. Again, just like everything else, you can have ornaments like pine cones made from leather. You can have Christmas trees. The other thing that's really nice about leather is it can be tooled. So you can, again, you can have, you know, our first Christmas or our first anniversary. You can also have like, I've seen some beautiful ones that actually spin. They're very three-dimensional. And you can even have like the tooling on the edge. So you can have, you know, your names, you can have things put on the edge that, you know, are very discreet. So it's really, really beautiful. Now, the next thing, you know, the other thing that's really gorgeous about leather is that you could do a garland that might be a little bit more on the expensive side, but the leather is very durable. It lasts a long time. You see it in all the normal shapes. You can have it in the shape of animals. I actually saw really beautiful ones where they were actually curled into the shape of animals, right? Sometimes they're cut and sometimes they're actually carved, you know. So you see the stars, you see bears, you see honestly, if you have, you know, if you have a favorite animal, like a favorite pet, you can have the cutout of that and have their name embossed on it. So it's really, you know, it's really beautiful, you know, what you can do with leather. Now, the next one that we're going to talk about is we're going to circle back. I talked about this in Garlands, but let's go ahead and talk about cork. Cork is a beautiful resource. Again, if you have your, you know, your favorite bottle of wine, and if you keep the corks, and especially the more top shelf wines actually have real cork, you know, stoppers. And if you do hang on to those, you can clean, you know, you can clean them real well, and you can use them to create stuff. And you know, I saw all the traditional shapes, like I saw Christmas trees, and of course we saw garlands. But I saw really cute little animals, like I saw reindeer. One artisan even kind of cut up the cork and turned it into like a little dog. So really, that's you know, a very creative way to reuse that. And again, it might be a fun project for one night. Now, the next one we're going to go ahead and talk about is we're going to circle back to paper. We talked about paper with garlands, but paper is so versatile for ornaments. It's so versatile, and believe it or not, it lasts longer than you think too. It's funny. I grew up in you know, I spent several years in Japan when I was young, and our neighbors would make origami ornaments, and I just thought they were so beautiful. My mom still has them, and they would, you know, it was just versatile the way that they would hang on the tree. Like they would be almost like a little branch, you know, they would just sit right on the branches and they wouldn't move. It would just stay in place, almost like a little topper. So you know, paper is beautiful for that. Origami is a gorgeous way to decorate your tree. And again, you know, you can do it in different ways. You could take some of that twine and wrap it around your tree, and then just take wooden paper clips and clip the origami. I actually made, this is another ornament that I kind of share with my mom. I made her one, and then I made one for herself, for myself. When we would go on walks together, we would always see cranes, and she lived near the water, so we'd always see cranes, and cranes kind of became kind of a spirit animal between us. Years ago, I made her a crane for her tree, and then I made a crane for my tree. So my crane is on my tree every year. And then what was beautiful, and it was almost like a synchronicity. I had bought some like an ornament from an Etsy seller, and with it as like a free gift, they sent me another origami crane. And this one sits, again, it just sits on my tree. It doesn't even move. I just kind of put it between two branches, and I've knocked into my tree quite a few times. So it doesn't move. It sits beautifully. So origami is another really fun kind of project that you can do either by yourself or with kids, and it's a wonderful addition to the tree. Now, one other thing that's paper that's really beautiful, and this is another thing, I'm a paper craft artist, so I really get into this, but you can also make paper flowers. I actually hang this around my house in addition to my tree. Years ago, these are actually, both of these ornaments are probably about 4 or 5 years old now. I have a small poinsettia, paper poinsettia that I hang on my tree, and then I have another bigger one that I hang on the wall. So it's really lovely. It just it hangs beautifully. But again, you can make anything that you want. If you like pine cones, you can make it out of paper. If you like dolphins, you can make it out of paper. It doesn't have to be like a traditional theme. So that's what I think is really, lovely about paper craft and decorating the tree that way. Now, last but not least, there's another really gorgeous, the next really gorgeous way you can decorate your tree or decorate your home is with felt. Felt is, like a wool material. And again, if you decide to purchase this, you can maybe ask whether or not the fluff inside of the ornament is polyfill or if it's cotton. You can. I'm sure that's available now because a lot of times these ornaments are again made to order. But felt is a gorgeous way. I actually, again, in my trying to move over to being environmentally friendly. I started with kind of a felt ornament that was again, I have all of my interests, but I love coffee. And one of my first felt ornaments was this little coffee cup. And it's so funny. I did last year put it on my tree, but when I was taking down all of my decorations after the holiday season, I thought the coffee cup was so cute. I didn't want to pack it away for the just I didn't want to leave it just for Christmas. So now I hang it over my coffee bar area, like the area that where I make my coffee, and I smile every single time I see it. It's just so adorable. And of course, I have so many felt ornaments now. I got a little avocado because I love avocados. Again, this can be completely your interest, what you love. And I got a little honeybee. My honeybee is adorable. That one actually came from England. Last year it arrived a little bit late because it was coming, it was traveling across the pond. So, but I went ahead and I hung it up this year, and it's so adorable. It's really the cutest little bee I've ever seen. So, felt and, any type of cloth, I did actually, oh, I'm sorry, one last thing in the line of felt. I actually attempted to make ornaments for myself last year. I made, just using my sewing machine, I made a sun. My little niece is a big Rapunzel fan, so I made a sun for her. And then I did, just like my mom's ducks, I went ahead and made, one of the symbolisms that I really like is the bluebird of happiness. So I made two bluebirds last year. They look a little bit, it was my first attempt, so they have imperfections, but I thought they turned out, I still hang them on my tree. They look really cute, and you can't even tell from a distance, you can't tell that the stitching is a little bit off. But but yeah, those are just a few ways. Now, one final thing, this is kind of in the line of paper. So we talked about the way that you can use origami and other materials. There are also other types of paper. It doesn't have to be traditional paper. Like I saw a beautiful kind of seahorse ornament at the store. But one last thing to consider is if you do celebrate Christmas, what's the most important thing? The most important thing is the what tops the tree. And what tops the tree is your star, right? So of course, a lot of stars light up. A lot of stars are the plastic ones. Honestly, there's quite a few metal ones that will work really well as well. So when it comes to your star, you really could use any material. You could make it a felt star, that where the star is full of material and then there's a cone that goes on top. That would be really gorgeous. You could do a metal star as long as it is all one material. Again, as long as it's not metal crossed with plastic. But I, again, being in the origami, field, I kind of, I decided to go ahead and make my star last year for my little tree. I had made stars in the past, and I actually, I had a friend ask if they could have the star from the past. So I've donated a lot of stars, and but this star was very, very special. I actually went through several different attempts. I used different types of paper because I was trying to see, okay, what color scheme I wanted. But the star that I actually went with is it's not real big, but it's funny. It's so meaningful because I ended up going with some remainder paper from a gold envelope. It was literally just a leftover envelope it was the envelope that I had messed up the name, and I didn't want to use it, but there was enough paper left over, and it was such a pretty paper, and I went ahead and made a star from it. And again, it's imperfect, but I absolutely love it. I think it turned out perfect, and every single time I see it at the top of my tree, I'm always just, it brings me a lot of joy. Now, of course, just like we said, your tree can have any theme you want. You can have seahorses. You could have, you can have. I actually this year I decided I got a new felt ornament that's in the shape of a cheetah. I know that sounds kind of funny. I've just been seeing I've been seeing the symbol of cheetahs a whole lot, and I feel like it's kind of speaking to me. One other ornament that I got that's fairly new is I got a little lamb. And the lamb actually has real wool on it, and it's funny. That's probably going to be another ornament that doesn't get packed away this year because, just like as I'm learning about material, as I'm learning about clothing, I kind of, just as a textile thing, I like to feel the fiber to kind of remind myself what it feels like. And it's interesting, I also have another little character who's a llama. So my little sheep actually has real sheep's wool on it. And then I have a little llama that actually has, or I'm sorry, it's an alpaca. That has real alpaca fiber, and it's just amazing. And actually, my little alpaca is completely organic as well. It's his skeleton is wood, and then it's alpaca wool, and then his ears. Well, it's a she. I actually held a contest. She got named by one of my watchers on my other channel. Her name is Dolores. Dolores the alpaca. But she's very, very soft, and so those are my two ornaments again that are just my interests. Me learning about fabrics and fibers and organic things, and it's so nice to actually be able to reach out and touch. It's very sensatory, and that just feels very warm, and that's so me. That's my weird tradition. That's what I like, and so that's what I have on my tree. Now, in that same vein, that's another really good segue. Just like Dolores, when you look at her, she's just a little figure that stands there. You could absolutely put that on the tree. Just like the origami, it would kind of stay in place if you just hang it. I don't think it would fall off or anything like that. So that's another really good way that you can decorate. If you have a favorite action figure, it's funny, you see on the social media platforms, you see people, I saw someone who took a bunch of Star Wars figures, like a bunch of stormtroopers, and put them in the tree, and so you could put anything that you want, and that's exactly what one of my friends did. Her kids are just so creative and so fun. They're just a fun group, and they actually decided to put those little stress relieving little popper things, the little you pop one side and then pop the other. They hung it on the tree. And what better way, to kind of utilize, to repurpose something, maybe that can become a permanent decoration every year, instead of it being a random toy that just gets thrown in the box somewhere. you can hang it on the tree. And that's just such a beautiful reminder of the, again, of your individuality, the things you love. And goodness knows the holiday season gets stressful. If you need it, you can just take it off the tree and start popping. So, you know, so definitely, you know, be creative and make it your own. Now, so that's really, you know, really arch free. I think that's, you know, and of course, to go into other holidays, because of course it is not all about Christmas, doesn't have to be about Christmas. If you celebrate Hanukkah, or if you celebrate Kwanzaa or Yule, I have seen some beautiful ways that that can be done. I've seen, of course, you see menorahs made out of glorious, you know, I've seen menorahs made out of gorgeous glass. That's another really beautiful element for decorations as well. Glass ornaments are gorgeous. And as long as it's 100% glass, you know, some of it is lead glass, but, you know, that's a beautiful way to decorate the tree. One other thing under glass, you can actually use stones as well. I'm kind of new age, and I have this little opalite angel, and I like to, she already has a little loop on it, and she gets used year round, but I hang it on the tree. So that's another really beautiful way. But if you do want either, you know, a wooden menorah, a glass menorah, or if you just want decorations that are candlesticks, I've seen some beautiful wood ones. So just like in the beginning of the video, wood, you know, olive wood, you know, that is such a beautiful resource, and that looks really lovely in the glow of the lights and everything like that. Another thing that's really beautiful with olive wood, in addition to candlesticks, is that olive wood makes beautiful nativity scenes. If you want a nativity scene that is organic, you could do ceramic. You could do. I haven't seen too many metal ones, but I mean, honestly, the sky's the limit. A glass one would be gorgeous if you don't have pets or little ones. And then, you know, but wood I've seen a lot of, and it looks really, it doesn't even look that minimalist. It looks just, it looks simplistic, but beautiful. It looks, I like the natural look of how, you know, the way that presentation is. Now, one other thing that looks really beautiful just in decorations in general is, one really nice way to celebrate the season is that kind of countdown, you know, the advent calendars. Now, you see a lot of advent calendars that have things like chocolates in it. Some of them have toys for every day. I've seen those really fancy advent calendars that have what is it, like expensive makeup and every single, you can get pricey, like you can drop a couple $100s and get like a really fancy advent calendar. But in the past, most of my advent calendars are all paper, you know, cardboard, and once you eat the chocolate, once the days, then you know, the calendar itself is recyclable. But I actually have a big advent calendar, but it is completely made of cotton. It's made of, actually, I think it's made of linen. And then it has, what it does is it looks like a big apartment building, and I have a little Santa. And I actually made a carrying case, like it's all cotton. I made a cover for it, you know, like a storage cover for it. But what it is Santa starts out in the lobby, and he moves from window to window from the 1st of December all the way until you get to the 25th. And it's beautiful. Now, the print on it is probably not, you know, organic, but it's got wooden towels that hold it up. But the string and the print on it is probably not organic, and the fill for Santa, you know, the stuffing for Santa is probably polyfill, but a majority of it is mostly linen and cotton, and it can be reused for years and years. And I get so much fun out of it. I'm a grown adult, and I just get a kick out of moving Santa from window to window, and it's you know, a lovely annual way. If you have, I bet I don't have any kids, but if I did, I think that they would get such a kick out of that, and I would get such a kick out of watching them go, hey, you want to go move Santa? You know, it helps. It brings that excitement to the season. Now, the next thing we wanted to talk about is, and again, you know, just like trying to utilize what you have, you know, try to repurpose. Another really beautiful thing that I've seen is those metal hangers that let you display your Christmas cards. And I think that's a brilliant idea, because not only is, you know, the hanger itself can be hopefully just all stainless steel, no plastic, but if it's metal, you know, that's a good reusable resource. And then all it has is it has little spiral areas where you can put your cards in. And that's so gorgeous because, I mean, you get such pretty cards, you know, for however you celebrate, you know, happy holidays, you know, you get those gorgeous cards, and then what happens? They end up sitting in a pile, you know? So why not let it be part of your decor? Again, I really believe in affirmations. When you see something that brings you joy, you know, and nothing brings you more joy than seeing the cards that people sent you, you know, to bring happiness to your day. You know, happy mail, right? Happy mail is great mail. So I just think that's brilliant. And I've seen there's wreath shaped ones like circles, and then I've seen trees. Also, that would also make a really great garland as well. You could just, you know, again, and it doesn't have to be anything real complicated. You could if you have a French board, you can put it there, or you could just hold a, you know, take some twine, string it up, and with wooden paper clips or plastic ones, but preferably a biodegradable, you know, you can just hang it up. Now, last but not least, we are going to touch a little bit on metal. I think metal is an overlooked one, and it plays into, you know, the metal frame that holds up our cards. But metal's a really fun one. I have a good friend who started this as a side business. Like she's a working professional during the day, and in her spare time, in the last 2 years, she watched a video on how to make cocoa bombs. And she's so cute. She's such a perfectionist. She started her own confection company, and gosh, her kitchen has turned into, like, she's so professional in the way that she makes this chocolate. It is like she keeps her kitchen at the degree of pretty cold so she can make these cocoa bombs, and then she sells them at farmers markets, and she's doing wonderful right now. I think she's really going to make that her own business, and I'm so proud of her. But they're absolutely amazing. She does like a green one with a big red heart, a marshmallow heart in the center, which is the Grinch. That one's a good one. And actually next week I'm driving to the state. I'm crossing state lines to go get some more. But she sells them at the farmer's market in metal containers. Now, of course, she has to wrap the ball in plastic, but, you know, for sanitary reasons, of course. But you know, there's cute little like metal containers for Christmas. You know, if you have letters for Santa, it could be a mailbox, it can be, but stainless steel or metal containers that don't have any crossover, like no plastic parts attached to it, that does make a lovely, you know, Christmas decoration. And if you know someone who tools metal, that, you know, just like all these shapes that we saw, you could totally do that, you know, with that material. But all right, guys, so this was exciting to do. I was looking forward to it, and every single time I start one of these videos, I'm like, oh, I can do this in 20 minutes. I swear I'm trying to talk fast, but this is good stuff, and I like talking about it, so I hate to talk too much, but I hope that this was helpful. I hope it brought some, you know, threw out some ideas, or it gave me a lot of ideas for next year. But so now I just want to go ahead and ask you, is there anything that we didn't talk about? Is there some kind of environmental tradition that you do during the holidays that really is either reusable or environmentally friendly? Please feel free to leave a comment. Also, I would be very honored if you would like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps my channel to grow. And last but not least, I'm just going to throw it out there. Anytime you see me on this channel, I am wearing something that is environmentally friendly. This sweatshirt it's kind of like a yoga sweatshirt. It's very comfortable. It is made by Pact, P-A-C-T. It is available in most Whole Foods stores, which is a grocery store, and I know that sounds funny, it's a grocery store, but they do sell items like this, and it is 95% cotton and 5% elastane. But I wanted to thank you again for joining me today. Please, if you have feedback, If you liked the video, if there's a decoration we didn't talk about, there's something new you want to add, please tell me in the comments. And again, I thank you so much. I hope that you have a wonderful holiday. I hope you have fun decorating and spending time with your family. And I hope to see you in the next video. The next video, we're going to talk about environmentally friendly ways for mailing things at the holidays and wrapping gifts. So I hope to catch you then, and I'll see you then. Bye.